So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 60 of our Aston Martin save. Now if you didn't watch Tuesday's episode, go back and watch that at the Hungary ring. We had a cracking finale, however it wasn't a great race for Pierre Gasly. He was leading the Grand Prix before crashing out, but Fernando Alonso managed to win it on the last lap to take the win in Hungary. What does all that mean for the standings? It means that we are still at top of the constructor standings by a single point from Red Bull, who are in second. Ferrari are not that far behind in third. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen did gain 12 points on Pierre Gasly, who's now around 57 points behind. Work to do for Pierre Gasly. Fernando Alonso, though, continued his great form and managed to get up to P5. He's now closing in on the two Ferrari drivers in front. A little bit of news. We are going into the Belgian Grand Prix. 44 laps round here. Expected strategy is a one-stop from medium onto hard or soft onto hard. It will be interesting to see if the rain plays a part, if there is any adverse weather conditions. Top speed acceleration and high speed cornering, very prominent around here. However, just on the car builds, on Pierre Gasly's car, we are going to be taking a new engine and new ERS for this race. So we are expecting a 10-place grid penalty for Pierre Gasly, but he will have fresh engine components. So I'm going to get through all the practices, not too much else to tell you about, and we'll see you in qualifying for the Belgian Grand Prix.
Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. This circuit was built in 1921, and even though its length was halved in 1979, the Belgian Grand Prix is still one of the longest, fastest, and most magical races on the F1 calendar. Spa-Francorchamps is famous for its long straights and fast corners. Drag efficiency will make all the difference here as drivers zoom through the famous sequence of Eau Rouge leading up into Raidillon. But a twisty middle sector keeps things tricky down on the track. The season is about halfway through, and it makes me wonder what else is in store for the teams. Well, there's only one way to find out. What will happen this weekend? Only time will tell. Now look at
So the
this.
first laps in Q3, and this was Pierre Gasly spinning just as he was about to start his flying lap. So Pierre Gasly's been called in. Fernando Alonso is on a flying lap at this moment in time, but we'll come back when we're on the final flares. But Pierre Gasly, he's going to be starting at the back anyway. That might as well be him done. He's going to be saving his tyres now. So it's just going to be Fernando Alonso. As we can see, he's got a little bit of traffic to contend with here. But Fernando Alonso, purple through the first sector. To be fair, he was the first car out on circuit. We've had a very much changeable weather conditions here in qualifying. We've managed to negotiate our way through to P3. If we'll just speed this up a little bit. We don't normally show you this, but we'll just speed this up a little bit for you. A 1:42.5 for Fernando Alonso on his first lap. And here we are then, final couple of corners. Fernando Alonso, it wasn't the greatest first lap. Is he going to massively improve here? The rain is going to be coming very, very shortly. He's green from the first and second sectors. Fernando Alonso up to the line. Goes P6 for Fernando. So, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, it's the two Ferraris on pole. And Pierre Gasly's obviously got second massive grid penalty, but there's going to be a few grid penalties. I was considering of taking them for Fernando Alonso as well, but we're not going to do. I think with the changeable weather conditions we have got some rain forecasts for Sunday. It will benefit us to have one car at the front, one car at the back, so we can be a bit more dynamic with pit stops. But let's have a look at the strategy and see when that rain's going to be coming. Well, guys, there really is only one strategy here. If they start on the soft, they're going to have to come in early, and then we're not going to reach the rain period. So I think for both drivers, we're going to go on the medium. We may have to drag it out a little bit longer, but by the time we get to lap 21, 22, that's when the rain will come down. We will then switch onto the intermediate tyres and go from there, and it looks like it's going to be intermediates all the way to the very end. The same for both drivers. Strategy's exactly the same, apart from one starting third and one starting 20th. Let's get to 5 red lights. Anything can happen in the rain at Spa. Let's see what we can do.
Get ready, it's the Belgian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we're going to be looking at Fernando Alonso, who's got the Ferrari in his sights. He's got George Russell for company as well. Kevin Magnussen in the Haas. He's on the soft compound tyres. The soft compound, let's have a little look. Albon, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Vettel, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Latifi, Schumacher and the 2 AlphaTauris all on the soft compound tyre. I wouldn't be worried about any of these two guys. Alonso's race is with Russell and Sainz this afternoon, and I totally believe that Fernando Alonso can quite easily win this Grand Prix if we get the strategy calls right. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly, he's got a tougher task this afternoon. He's got to negotiate these slower cars on faster tyres first and foremost. Get past these, they're on fresh soft compound tyres as well, these guys. He's got to get past these as quickly as he possibly can and then make his way up towards the top drivers and the top 10. But seeing Albon in the Audi in a P4 and Magnussen in P5 in the Haas, fantastic to see those two guys. A bit of a break-up of the status quo. But as we lead lap 1, it's Sainz from Russell, Alonso third, Albon then Magnussen, Bottas P6, Danny Ricciardo in P6, Charles Leclerc P8, Vettel P9, Hamilton in the Audi making up the top 10, but he's got a rampaging Max Verstappen very much behind him. Lap 1. Lap 4, DRS disabled. We've got an early safety car, and we're going to get to have a little view of it here. So let's have a quick look.
Watching the Red Bull.
It's a Red Bull, unfortunately. It is. Is that Max Verstappen? I think that's Max Verstappen against Lewis Hamilton, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a closer look at this. If we just skip this on, obviously we're Lewis Hamilton, we're going to keep on going. Max Verstappen, is he the man without the front wing? He certainly is. Verstappen and Hamilton clash here in this alternate F1 universe. And Max Verstappen is going to need a pit stop. That's great news for Pierre Gasly. It's also great news for a couple of the cars, like Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly, because we can conserve our tyres a little bit more now, save a bit on the fuel as well, charge the battery up under this safety car, and then when we get back to green flag running, we will be all charged up and fresh again. It just helps us get to this lap 22, lap 23 for the rain coming. Everything's fully charged. We'll come back when we go back to green flag running. So here we go then, back to green flag running on lap 5. We've told Fernando Alonso to use the ERS straight away and try and make a move on George Russell. But then again, Alexander Albon's got a fantastic start on us. And Alexander Albon in the Audi is looking to overtake the Aston Martin. What on earth is going on here? It looks like Fernando now in the second phase has managed to get that sorted out. He certainly has. But he's got a bit of catching up to do to the two cars in front, Fernando Alonso. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly at the back, he's now got Max Verstappen for company back here in P19. So he's got to start making moves as quickly as he possibly can. And straight away down here, Pierre Gasly, he's up to P16. He's using all the ERS, the overtake, to catch up with Guan Yu Zhou, which he's done beautifully. Lando Norris now is in front. He's overtaken Schumacher. Guan Yu Zhou's up next for Pierre Gasly. Meanwhile, at the front, Fernando Alonso, he's looking to stretch that gap to Alexander Albon. He could do a break in DRS. Again, these guys on the soft compound tyres, these tyres are going to wear away pretty quickly. It's just about keeping Fernando in touch with these two front guys at this moment in time, and then we can live off the DRS for a little bit until the rain comes. So lap 6, after the safety car, Sainz still leads from Russell, Alonso, Albon in P4, Magnussen 5th, Bottas 6th, Leclerc up to P7 and has got the fastest lap. He's pushing Valtteri Bottas round at this moment in time. Danny Ricciardo P8, Perez P9, Vettel 10th, Pierre Gasly down in P16. Lap 9, and this has just happened to Fernando Alonso. It's not the end of the world. Why he stopped is beyond me a little bit, but that did allow the chasing pack to really catch up with Fernando, and he's now lost a lot of ground to the two guys in front. So that's really not helped his race at all. He's still in pole position for P3, but that mistake not good at all. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly is having a right ding-dong battle at this moment in time with the Haas. An AlphaTauri of Nicholas Latifi and Guan Yu Zhou. So he's struggling to make progress, but these cars, we've got to clear them to try and catch up to this top 10. That's vitally important for Pierre. But over the next couple of laps, when these tyres die off, which we expect them to do, if we just have a quick look at the pre-race reports, for the expected strategies. We're expecting them to come in the next probably 4 or 5 laps, the soft compound runners. So Pierre Gasly really needs to start making light work of these guys now. I'm sure he will do. But lap 9, it's still signs from Russell. Alonso now, bit of work to do to break the DRS of these guys. Lap 9. So lap 13, just to inform you, Alexander Albon has pit, as has Mick Schumacher. So we've had a couple of cars. They've gone onto the hard compounded tyre. Now, I'm not sure who's doing their strategy, but it seems a bonkers decision to use the hard compounded tyre unless you were just using it from the start to make sure that you could get to the rain period. Maybe we will be proven wrong if the weather radar isn't quite accurate, but Alexander Albon and Magnussen, for a fantastic start that they had, a fantastic qualifying, to end up 16th and 17th, not good at all. Pierre Gasly is now starting to use some of his pace. If we have a look at the last lap times, we can see he's on a 146.5, Tsunoda 147.3. He's actually lapping Pierre Gasly quicker than anyone up to second place. So Pierre Gasly, he's on the charge at this moment in time. And I'm very much here for it because he's got a lot of work to do. He could put some distance between himself and Verstappen if we get the strategy calls right. Fernando Alonso, he's in P3, he's in a bit of a land of his own at the moment, and there's not much Fernando can do apart from keep driving around and hopefully get another podium for himself this afternoon, as he just has done in real life on the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. I'm recording this on the Sunday night. Great drive from him. My word, there was a bit of action there with Verstappen and Perez as well, especially with trading the fastest laps at the end. The Red Bull do look unstoppable. I just wish we had got their pace on this. But lap 14, it's signs from Russell and Alonso still in P3. Danny Ricciardo, P6 still. On the soft compounded tyre, going long. I would be expecting to see him in very, very shortly. Just out of curiosity, in front of Gasly, he's got 1, 2, 3 cars in front of him that's going to come in before the wet weather period. So Gasly's going to be in the points by the time it's time for Inters. Lap 14. Lap 18, Charles Leclerc has just managed to get past Fernando Alonso. We seem to be losing some pace with Fernando, which is a bit frustrating. None of the medium compound tyres runners have pit yet. We have just got the message come through. We are expecting wet weather very, very shortly. 3 minutes to be exact. 3 minutes is a long time. Don't let anybody tell you any different. But Fernando Alonso currently in P4 now. He can hang on to the back of Charles Leclerc. What we may do once we get the DRS is just harvest some of the ERS as well. That may aid us, especially when it comes to coming out on his out laps and in laps for the pit stops. Gasly is in P11. We're having a look to the soft compound runners. Vettel and Ricciardo look like they now may be going to the wet weather, so we'll have to see what happens there. But Pierre Gasly's really got to get past these guys as quickly as he possibly can, and I'm sure he will do in the next lap or so, but it's all now waiting for that rain to come down. So here we go, ladies and gents. Fernando Alonso is coming in, Sainz is in, Russell's in, is Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc's carried on. Fernando Alonso is in for his pit stop. Let's have a look. Bottas carries on, Perez carries on, Norris comes in, Ricciardo, is Danny Ricciardo coming in? He isn't. Pierre Gasly is. So Fernando Alonso is the first one of our cars into the pit box. Let's have a look at this pit stop time. Is it a decent stop? It's not too bad at all. 2.5 seconds, clean getaway for Fernando Alonso. Pierre Gasly's in as well. Now he's got Max Verstappen behind him, something to bear in mind. Is he going to get held here? He isn't. He's going to get back out in front of Max Verstappen. The key thing now will be to see. Looks like we've had a crash as well. Let's have a little look at this.
Now we see the Williams here.
The Williams that stopped out on the hard compounded tyre. What's he managed to do? It looks like he's going to lock up. He is. And he's binned it into the wall. No need for a safety car, which is pretty good for us. But Fernando Alonso in front of him. He's got 1, 2, 3 cars on the wrong tyres. Fernando will be catching up to them very quickly. Pierre Gasly, I think he's pretty much, apart from Alexander Albon, who he's got to get past very quickly, which I'm hoping he's going to do now. And he certainly is. Pierre Gasly's going to get past him. Hopefully he's going to hold Max Verstappen up a little bit as well. Pierre Gasly's in amongst all the intermediate runners now. So it's all eyes on Fernando Alonso, who needs to get past these cars. We're going to tell him to drive in clean air. But this is something that really doesn't help with this game, because we've got 2 cars going side by side on the wrong tyres. We could be gaining a lot of time on these if we could just spy a gap, which we can't seem to do. Fernando, all he's got to do is just get a bit of, which he will do, down this next straight. I'd imagine he's going to get the chance, because this is losing us a hell of a lot of time to the top two guys. He's managed to get past one. Is he going to manage to get past the Red Bull as well? I'd imagine he is on this next straight.
That's it.
And here he goes. Yeah, Fernando Alonso is through. No problems at all. I say no problems at all. They're going to lose a hell of a lot of time, those two guys. Pierre Gasly is just rounding Danny Ricciardo beautifully. Great work from him. And he can see Lando Norris a little bit further up the road. But what we're going to look at now is Leclerc, Perez and Bottas are going to come out of the pit lane. Or they're going to come out behind Pierre Gasly. I would presume they are. Verstappen's going to get promoted through this as well. Is Danny Ricciardo? No, I'm going to say Danny Ricciardo say out. Right, Pierre Gasly going down now. Leclerc coming out of the pit lane. Gasly, is he going to manage to overtake Charles Leclerc? He certainly is. Pierre Gasly is now up into P5 and he's got Lando Norris. Gap to Norris is 2 seconds and then he's got Alonso 10 seconds in front. So really now it's time for Pierre Gasly to get his foot down and get past Lando Norris on lap 22. Sainz and Russell look like they've got it in the bag. It's going to be 1 from 2 for the win, and then Fernando Alonso in a comfortable P3. And on lap 23, gets his foot down, he has. Pierre Gasly manages to get past Lando Norris. And we can see the Ferrari in the background. That's the car that we're trying to put some distance between ourselves and that behind. But Lando Norris now is going to be like a moving roadblock. He hasn't got the pace of us in this Aston Martin, in this new engine. If I just switch to it though, I don't know where we've got this new engine from. I don't know if you can hear that. But I think we've got the new engine out of a Ford Transit. But whatever it's doing, it's working. So we're happy with that. Lap 24, Alonso and Gasly, 3rd and 4th.
Now look at this.
And maybe we also got the brakes from a Ford Transit van as well, because Pierre Gasly is looking like he's going to throw this title challenge away. It's 2 lockups in 2 races.
Disappointed with that.
There's hands on heads in the Aston Martin garage. There's hands on heads in the Aston Martin pit wall from last week when it was all Pierre Gasly and we were doing fantastically well. It's not gone very well at all, and he's also now got a broken chassis and front wing. I don't think there's any points in this. We're going to assess the situation. We obviously need to get Pierre in next lap. We'll get him in for a new fresh set of intermediate tyres. And some new car parts as well, but he's going to have damage. Where he's going to come out, we might have to be playing for a safety car. So now it's all eyes again on Fernando Alonso, who's 8.3 seconds clear of Lando Norris, and he's just got to bring it home. But that is a big disappointment for Pierre Gasly, who's currently driving around with half a front wing even. I can't even speak, I'm that disappointed. Lap 33.
The Red Bull.
We've had another crash on circuit. Now Max Verstappen's the car that's in the middle of these two, and Max Verstappen
Clearly see the contact there.
has crashed out now. DRS has been disabled anyway, which it will because it's wet. We do have a safety car. We're going to have a look at the strategy here and we'll come back. Right, safety car is in this lap. Now, Carlos Sainz, George Russell, Charles Leclerc. We're all bunched back up. Fernando Alonso's back in this for a win. Max Verstappen has retired from the Grand Prix. So that means Pierre Gasly on the freshest intermediate tyres in the field now has a chance to make some points up or make some points up on Max Verstappen. And we can also look to extend our Constructors' title lead here. So there's a lot to play for in this Grand Prix as we go green again, and Fernando Alonso is trying to make an early move on the Mercedes in front of him because I think that might be his best chance. We don't want to let these guys just run away. The DRS was really helping us. Pierre Gasly also having a look at the Alpine in front, but can't seem to get past him at this moment in time despite using the ERS. But Fernando Alonso, he's in the hunt now for a win, not just a podium, but he's got a real stern challenge of keeping a very fast Charles Leclerc behind him as well. Pierre Gasly has really just got to try and get some points. That's the aim for Pierre. He's still got that chassis damage, but he's got to start making light work of these cars as quickly as he can. And as we say that, he gets past Sebastian Vettel It's new versus old here in this Aston Martin. But Pierre Gasly, it looks like he's got the job done on Sebastian, and now he can chase after Lance Stroll, the other former Aston Martin driver that's just in front. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso, he's having to play a bit of a longer game because he's got a Mercedes and a Ferrari to deal with. And just as we went back, we've got another safety car. Danny Ricciardo, who's been excellent all weekend, has just done this. Absolutely yeeted the Haas into the middle of next week at the bus stop chicane. Now that has meant, as we're trying to keep up with this here, Pierre Gasly is now up to P9 in the Aston Martin, so he's now in point scoring positions. Fernando Alonso did just drop to Charles Leclerc. We don't seem to have the pace that Charles Leclerc has got this weekend. P4 is looking the maximum for Fernando, but with what's happening here, we've got 8 laps to go. Anything could happen here, ladies and gentlemen. It might be another grandstand finish, but Pierre Gasly, he could possibly look at P7, P6 if he can put it together. But these tyres are going to be absolutely paramount towards the end. So once again, we'll come back when it's green flag running. And once again, lap 37, we are going green again. We're going to keep an eye on Fernando Alonso. Both our guys now have been told to deploy on the ERS, push on the fuel, and just go for it now, because there's probably going to be another safety car at some point, because that's just the way this Grand Prix's been. But Fernando Alonso just doesn't seem to have the pace to keep up with these Ferraris and Mercedes in front of him, which is a little bit disappointing to say how strong we've been so far this season. Pierre Gasly, on the other hand, he's got Lance Stroll in front of him, and he's got much better tyres than most of the field. Pierre Gasly should be the mover and shaker towards the end of this Grand Prix, but at this moment, not quite managing. We're struggling with that acceleration. We have got upgrades coming in the next few races, but we are struggling a little bit with acceleration. That just seems to be costing us, especially in these wet conditions. But Fernando Alonso keeping the guys in front of him very keen. Both our guys in point scoring positions. We can't be too upset with that. Just another couple of places for Pierre would be absolutely ideal. And is he going to go for a move here? I don't believe he is. Is he going to go for a move round the outside of Lance Stroll? We'll switch to the television camera. He's cut across in there, Lance Stroll. Fair racing, hard but fair. I'm sure he's going to get in very shortly, lap 38. And just after we said that, on to lap 39. Through Eau Rouge, Pierre Gasly gets the job done, and now he can chase after the Mercedes in front of him. Pierre Gasly, it's been a fantastic recovery drive, but imagine what position he would have been in if he didn't have that smash. Maybe one too many mistakes Pierre will reflect on in terms of his individual driver's title challenge this season. But at this moment in time, Fernando is doing absolutely everything he can, but he's not gaining on these Ferraris and Mercedes. He's just simply keeping in touch despite deploying ERS. Lap 39. And lap 42, it took a lot of battery and a lot of perseverance, but Pierre Gasly has finally got the move done on Valtteri Bottas. It's a great move, a risky move, but he got it done. We've used all the battery now. It's whether he can hold this off for the last couple of laps. But P7, yes, we're smiling now. We're smiling in the Aston Martin garage. It's all about now whether we can hold Valtteri Bottas off for the next couple of laps. But P7's quite a decent recovery from back of the grid and the spin. You'd have to say Pierre Gasly has not had too bad an afternoon. Fernando Alonso is looking like he can't do any better than P4 at this moment in time. He's doing his absolute utmost. The cars in front of him have been battling all afternoon, and this battling, will it allow him to get a podium? It'd be fantastic if he could. I think it might just be beyond him, if I'm being totally realistic. But lap 43, it's signs from Alonso. There's a crash behind. There's a safety car, and Fernando Alonso is out. What on earth has happened there? Let's have a little look at this. We're just commentating. It's Lando Norris. And it's Lando Norris, he's locked up, and he's absolutely smashed Alonso into touch. Alonso's now out of the Grand Prix. Gasly, I think this will possibly now end under a safety car. It's going to end under a safety car. Pierre Gasly, he's going to get P5. But what a disappointment that is. Lando Norris down in P10. But what an absolute shambles of a race this has been in Spa. from the smooth sailing of last week, pit 1-2s, absolutely loving life. We've been brought back down to earth here, and somehow, some way, Pierre Gasly looks like he's going to get P5 here. We'll just fast forward this on a little bit because I think we're going to end under a safety car. If we just fast forward this on now, safety car is going to pick us up.
So Alonso has retired.
Yep, safety car is going to pick us up here, and we are going to end. We'll fast forward it round, and it's a huge disappointment. Safety car is going to end, but it's going to be the checkered flag as we just put this onto 2 times speed. But yeah, hugely disappointing because I felt we could have scored some good points with Fernando. What that possibly is going to mean as well with that smash being as it were, is that we are going to have to take an engine penalty possibly at the next Grand Prix. And to be fair, it's cost us a few quid. It's cost us a few quid as well this race. P5 for Pierre Gasly. Carlos Sainz wins, probably not in the way that he wanted to, but he's dominated the Grand Prix. Russell P2, Leclerc P3 and Perez at P4. We'll just fast forward to the end. And on a rainy day in Spa, it's disappointment. It's 15 places gained. We can't be too upset with that. But I felt we could have done so much more there. Driver standings wise, Pierre Gasly gains 10 points on Max Verstappen. Not too bad, but Carlos Sainz really closes the gap on Pierre Gasly. He's now in P3, Carlos Sainz, and he's simply 7 points behind. Quick maths there, as you get all the time. Fernando Alonso gaining no points. Disappointing after the last couple of races for him. Constructor standings wise, we go from 1st to 3rd. Aston Martin, we ended last week top of the shop. We're now down in P3. We are 12 points behind Ferrari, who take the lead of the constructor standings. Disappointment, I'm sure you can hear it in my voice, but it was an entertaining Grand Prix nonetheless. Please like and subscribe, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra!